Bonjour, Nodin and Dishnakaz, Chichak and Dodem, Misanabi Cree and Dunjaba, Nishnabed and Yandel. The song I'm going to sing for you is an eagle song, and it's asking the spirit of the eagle to help the people. Bonjour, Wadje. Nodin and Dishnakaz, Chichak and Dodem, Misanabi Cree and Dunjaba, Anishnabed and Yandel. I'm speaking in Anishinaabe, Moen, because my grandparents raised me till I was about 10. But my father was Ilulu, Mishkego Cree, or Mishkego. And so I acknowledge and I honor both sides of my identity. And it's so important to understand, our identity and how we're connected to our ways of knowing, how we're connected to this earth, how we're connected to the land. When we call the land, we refer to the land, we consider that our first family, our original family. And so understanding that now is so important. It's helped me in my own journey, my own growth, my own evolution, because for me growing up, like so many Indigenous people, it was through struggle. There wasn't a good family nucleus in my family. It was severed. We were displaced, facing, marginalization or living on the margin, so it was a lot of things so many people face across this country that are Indigenous or that identify as being Indigenous, whether that's Cree, Ojibwe, Mi'kmaq, Lakota, Nakota, whatever our nation is, there's a lot of us that have faced those barriers of oppression. And sometimes that plays out within our own internal trauma and the breakdown of our own identity. But what I wanted to share with you, was my own story, a little bit of my own story. While I was struggling to understand who I was, there wasn't resources there, for me. There wasn't culture there. There wasn't elders that I could access. There wasn't ceremonies that I could access. And so we hear these children in the background playing, and it's so important to understand that, and I can share a little bit about that later in terms of that spiritual sense. But it's important to hear all these sounds in the background of this interview because it's who we are, it's what we're connected to. But back to the story, my storyline, in the city, growing up in the city, I didn't have access to my identity. But as soon as I got that access to my identity, as soon as I found out what my spirit name was, as soon as I found out what my clan was, as soon as I found out what my spirit colors were and what they represented and how they help us, what I understood, as soon as I started understanding what the drum means and what those songs mean, those songs are a way for us to communicate with the spirit world. They're a way for us to pray in that spirit language. We're giving thanks. We have this, gratitude. Oh, miigwech, oh, gichi miigwech, or oh, kije miigwech, or, we're thanking creation for everything it does for us. When we go sit on the land and fast in a singular spot and offer tobacco and offer songs and offer prayers, we're giving thanks. We're giving gratitude for this life, our connection to this life on this earth. And it was when I started understanding that relationship as an Indigenous person, as an Anishinaabe, as Cree, as Ilalu, all those things, made more sense. And then there was more of a desire to want to learn more. There was more of a desire to live. There was certain times in my own life where I struggled with the identity, with the notion of leaving this, this place, and going to the spirit world, making that journey on my own accord. And it was the culture and it was the ways of knowing that I engaged with. It was the medicine people that I talked to that gave me that, that desire to want to know more, that desire to live again, that it didn't have to be that way, that those songs lifted me up, those ceremonies helped me heal. And, healing is a lifelong process. We are always going to have things that we're going to be healing and growing from and evolving. But the important thing is to grow, to make sure that you face what it is that you might be dealing with, have the courage, to look at those things, to look at our trauma, as a warriors, as Ogichita. And Ogichita and Ojibwe and Anishinaabe means a person of great heart. It doesn't necessarily translate as a warrior. It means a person of great heart. As a person of great heart, sometimes it's hard to see those tough things that we have to face in ourselves. And, when you're sitting out on a fast for 3 or 4 days, one of the biggest challenges you're going to have is not the elements, is not the animals out there, it's facing yourself. And sometimes we need the culture or these sacred objects, to help us in how we grow and how we move and how we walk on this earth and who we walk beside and how we contribute or how we provide and protect our families and our communities. So it's thinking about all these things in terms of that identity, because you have a place. You have a place with us. You have a place in this community. You have a place in this original family, which is the earth. You have a purpose, and that purpose could be attached to your spirit name and to your clan, to your lineage, to your spirit colors, whatever your culture is from your nation, or your tribal affiliation. There is ways of knowing, or there is culture, there is ceremonies, there is teachings that we're all connected to. And those teachings are connected to this land, to this earth. And so you have a purpose here. You have an importance here. You have things to learn and to teach. When I was growing up and I went through a hard life, and I've been on my own since I was 14 and on the streets, I asked an elder about all these awful things that have happened to me. And he told me, he said, Eddie, he goes, if all those awful things didn't happen to you, he goes, how would you help anyone else? And it was just an interesting way to look at all my experiences and all those, all that strength I gathered from going through all those things. Now I have a better understanding. I can empathize. It's not about sympathy or feeling sorry for somebody. It's empathizing, the empathy to understand what it might be that you're going through, that I've been through something similar. A lot of us have been through something similar where, we're a generation impacted by residential school survivors and the breakdown of our family structure, the oppression of reserve systems, the displacement of our identity and growing up in city or off reserve or in rural areas. There's so many impacts that we are facing as Indigenous people, as people. But for you as young people, it's to know that you're important, that you're valued, that you're loved, and that this creation loves you. And understanding that our DNA comes from healers and medicine people and, leaders, Ogichita, warriors, Ogichitakwe, warrior women, like there's so many things that our people were and still are. We were so advanced in terms of our thinking, how we looked at the world. Like the name for this in Ojibwe is Jishigwan, and Jishigwan talks about the creator's first thoughts, and that sound is like that white noise. And NASA, is beginning to record the sounds of the universe, and it has that same sound. So our people, Indigenous people from whatever territory, have these words in our language that reflect the environment, that reflect the earth, that reflect the universe. How is it that if we were so primitive in our culture that we knew the sounds of the universe? How is it that in our culture we knew the diagrams of an atom, in terms of quantum physics? So it's looking at to those kinds of things to know the importance of who you are and the importance of why you're here, and that you belong to something. You belong to a way of knowing. You belong to, a love that is, emanating from this earth. We are the people. We are the human beings. We're older than, John Trudell talked about that, Indigenous or Indians or Native Americans. We're older than all those concepts. We are the human beings. That's who we are. And in the language, that's what it means. And so you are a human being and you are loved. Bonjour, Waje. This song I'm going to sing for you is, the song is called Ogichita. And Ogichita means a person of great heart. And I actually received this song on a fast or a vision quest. But before I sing that song, I wanted to introduce this drum. This drum was given to me from the British Columbia or BC Friendship Center Association. And it was given to me from Ron Rice for my cultural leadership. And he told me the painting on the drum means us moving together, us moving, as a family, as a community together. And so I was honored that. But this drum was also important, so important to me. It's traveled with me everywhere. I've followed it everywhere, wherever it's taken me. And it's brought me here to this place right now. But it was the drum that led the march, along with other singers, for Truth and Reconciliation in 2015. And so this drum has been in a lot of places, and it's so powerful. And now it's here with you. So I'm going to sing this song that I received on a fast for you, Ogichita.
Hey,
miigwech.